Hello, students and aspirants. Jai Hind to all of you. I am Dheeraj Kumar. I am welcoming you on my YouTube channel, that is Jail Junction. Today we will start the first chapter of the 9th class NCERT Polity. That is, what is democracy? Why democracy? In this chapter, we will discuss in 3 points. That is, firstly, we will read about the democracy, definition of the democracy, and origination of that word democracy. And secondly, we will read about the features of the democracy. And thirdly, in the last point of this chapter, that is why democracy. In this section of the why democracy, we will understand about the merits of the democracy, demerits of the democracy, and how democracy is existing in our country, that is our lovely India. So now let's talk about the first subtopic, that is democracy. The first topic is democracy. In this topic, we will understand about the democracy, the meaning of democracy, definition of democracy, as well as we will understand in this section the origination of this word democracy. So now, firstly, we should have a look on the origination of this word, that is democracy. Democracy has been originated from two Greek words that are demos and krato. Demos means the people, the common man, and krato means the power. So demos and krato, both of these are the Greek words. Demos means people. Krato means the power. And from the word demos, the demo has been originated, and from the word krato, the krashi has been originated. Due to it, its system is known as democracy. Now, just try to understand the meaning of this word, that is demos and kratos. The people, demos means the people, and krato means the power. Means the power of people, any kind of the system, any kind of the form of the government in which the power of people is being existed, that will be considered as a democracy. Now we will understand about the definition of the democracy, that is democracy, a form of government, in which the rulers are elected by the people. Is called democracy. Just try to understand that the definition of the democracy is a form of government, a form of government. What is government? Government is a kind of political entity in which the group of some people are existing. The group of some people is existing inside of this system, inside of this form of the government, inside of this system to govern the country. Means all those person who are the member of this organization, who are member of the members of this entity, of this political entity, all those will be responsible to govern our country. That is the government. So a form of government in which the rulers means who rules the country, that is the ruler. The rulers are elected by the people. Just focus on this word, elected by the people. By the people is called democracy. Elected in the sense there is no system of the appointment, there is no system of the any kind of the hereditary system to be a ruler, to make a ruler. Means anyone can be the ruler by election. Election means from here, from the definition of the democracy, we can understand one thing, that election is the prerequisite of democracy. Means election is prerequisite for this form of the government, that is known as the democracy. That is known as democracy. So in this section of the democracy, we have understood two things. First is the origination of this word. What have I understood? What have we understood? The origination of the word democracy. In this section, we have understood the word democracy has been originated from two Greek words. The first is demos, which means the people, and second is krato, which means the power. It means the democracy means the power of people is being existed in the system of democracy. Now, secondly, we have understood the definition of the democracy, means what democracy is. We have understood that a form of government, we have understood also one thing, that government. What is government? Government means a political entity which runs the country. That is the government. So a form of government in which the rulers are elected by the people. Who will be the elector? Who will be the responsible to election? People. Elected by the people is called democracy. Means election is prerequisite. Election is needed for the system of democracy. So now let's move to the second topic of this chapter, that is our features of the democracy. Features of the democracy, in which we will understand what kind of the democracy is existing inside of our country and how is democracy. The point is features of democracy. Features of democracy. In this section, we will understand the what kind of the features the democracy is having. Means, like we have understood one thing from the definition of the democracy, that democracy needs election to elect the rulers who govern the government, and government runs the country. Now, the first feature of the democracy is major decision major decision taken by the elected leaders. Elected leaders means who is responsible to take the major decision. That is, that answer will be the elected leaders. And what kind of the major decision? Major decision about the affair of, about the national affair, international affair, international affair, and all the affairs of the country which are existing in the inside of the country, which are existing inside of the country, all these kind of the affairs will be looked after by the elected leaders. Like in terms of the India, elected leaders, MP and MLA, who will be in future PM, and MLA, one of the MLAs will be the CM in future. Who governs the affair of the state is CM, and PM is governing the affair of the entire nation, entire country. So, major decision by the elected leaders. But there is an exception about these things. There is an exception. You can assume who can be our illegitimate neighbor, Pakistan. There is an exception in this context of the democracy, in this context of the feature of the democracy, that the Pakistan in the year of 1999, General Parvez Musharraf, General Parvez Musharraf General Parvez Musharraf had issued a legal framework order. Legal framework order. Legal framework order had been issued by the General Parvez Musharraf for what? To the national and provincial assemblies to the national and provincial assemblies. Now, please think about it that why he had issued this kind of the legal framework order to the national and provincial assemblies to increase the power of military rule. To increase means, whereas we know these things, this kind of the work, this kind of the duty, who is having the president, it is the work of president. But in the case of Pakistan, anything can be happen because this is Pakistan, we know. And one more interesting thing that they have lost all the war, but still their army general and their army officers and still wearing the medal. Just think, to the national, we know national means at the level of the central government, that is the national. But what is the provincial assembly? Provincial word has been originated from the province. Province means state. Like when you read in the section of the international politics, then you will be able to know these things that state means entire political thing of the entire country's affairs. Country. State means country, and province means state. But in the context of India, we know the state means province. In the context of India, we know the state, and in the context of India, we know the country, that is known as state in the context of the international politics. So, provincial assemblies means like legislative assembly means state legislature. State legislature means provincial assembly, or legislative assembly. Now we have understood these things, that the major decision by the elected leaders. In this context of the democracy, one is our exception. The exception is our neighbor, that is Pakistan. Whatever I have said about this nation, about this country. Now we will see the exact definition, exact explanation of this feature according to our NCERT book. We will understand now. So, in a democracy, in a democracy, the final decision must rest with the elected by the people. In a democracy, the final decision means the major decision. No, that is the final decision must rest with elected by the people. Means who will take this decision? the final decision, that should be the elected member. That should be elected member, and the elected by the people, elected by the common man like you and me, now who are above 18 years old. So yet you have understood the free and fair election means free and fair electoral competition, feature of the democracy. Free and fair electoral competition is one of the features of the democracy. But in the context of this feature of the democracy, one exception is here. That is China. China China has been ruled, and China is being ruled still it is being ruled by only one party, that is Chinese Communist Party. Chinese Communist Party winning the election again and again. And only the influence of Chinese Communist Party is being in their National Assembly, that is known as Chinese National Chinese National Congress. Chinese National Congress. It's the name of parliament there. Like we as an Indian, as the Indians, we know the parliament as National Assembly. But there, in the case of China, in the context of China, the Chinese National Congress is the name of their National Assembly. So the influence of the Chinese Communist Party is being existed in the Chinese National Congress. So this is something wrong in the context of this free and fair electoral competition. And one another example is here, that is the Mexico. Mexico has been independent in the year of 1930, and from the 1930 till the year of 2000, only one party was winning the election in the country Mexico, and that party was PRI. That party was PRI. Only this single party has been ruled during this period from 1930 to 2000 in the country like Mexico. PRI stands for Institutional Revolutionary Party. Institutional Revolutionary Party. So now move to the second feature of the democracy, that is free and fair electoral competition. Electoral competition means election. Means the candidates are competing to each other. That is the concept of the electoral competition. Now, the second feature of the democracy is a free and fair electoral competition. Free and fair electoral competition means the Electoral competition means, just firstly we have to understand the what electoral competition is. Electoral competition means election, but it is named as competition. Competition means that two or more than two uh, electoral candidates are competing to each other to win the election. That is why this is known as electoral competition. Now, electoral competition means very simple, election. And election should be, second feature is that election should be free and fair. Free and fair. Fair means just. Fair means just. Free means without any pressure and any kind of the domination. So this is the funda of free and fair election, a free and fair electoral competition. Now we have understood the what is the concept behind this point, that is the free and fair election, free and fair electoral competition. Now we will see the one of the exception in the context of this feature of the democracy, that is the our one another neighborhood, that's China. China, like see, election is happening there also, but what kind of the election is happening in the country of China? That is one party, Chinese Communist Party. Chinese Communist Party. Chinese Communist Party is winning the election, is winning the election again and again in the country of China. So now we have understood this feature of the democracy, and now we will talk about the entire explanation of this feature of the democracy, that is free and fair electoral competition according to your answer NCERT. So let's remove it and try to understand the statement of this feature, that is a democracy must be based on free and fair electoral free and fair election, where those currently in power have a fair chance, have those currently in power have a fair chance of losing the election. So as we have understood, as we have understood in the case of China and Mexico, that only one party was winning the election, only one party was ruling the election, was ruling the country, was ruling the entire government of that country. In the case of China and Mexico, that was wrong for this. That was a kind of exception for this feature of the democracy. It is according to the statement of the of this feature, a democracy must be based on free and fair election, free and fair election, where those currently presently in power have a fair chance of losing. Like, let's take the example of our country. Like, currently the NDA government, NDA government is ruling the country, our country, India, but they have also the fear of losing the election. They have also the fear of losing the election. So this is the fair, this is the just system of the electoral competition. This is the fair system of the election. But in the case of Mexico as well as China, that was totally wrong. That only one party was dominating the government, only one party was winning the election, only one party was ruling the entire country. But so now let's move to the third feature of the democracy, that is the one person, one vote, and one value. That is third feature of the democracy is one person, one vote, and one value. One person, one vote, one value means every person has right to vote once in any kind of the election, in the case of state legislature as well as in the case of parliament, that is the Lok Sabha election. But according to this statement, the one person must have a right to vote once, and one vote must the same value, one vote must have the value that is only one. Means if at the age of 21, if I am electing, if I am participating in an election, uh, then my vote will be considered, my vote will be given the value that is only one. And also, if our respected honorable prime minister will vote in any kind of the election, then his vote will be counted as value one only, same as me. This is the beauty of democracy. This is the beautiful feature of the democracy. Now, let's take the example of its exception. Exception, first exception is Saudi Arab. Saudi Arab. In the case of Saudi Arab, there was no any kind of the right to vote for the women until the year of 2015. So in the context of Saudi Arab, there was no any kind of the right to vote until 2015 for female. Second exception second example is second exception is Estonia. Estonia, in the country of Estonia, minorities had no value. Minorities have no value, and minorities for the Russian origin people. Russian origin people have no right to vote in the country of Estonia. And third is Fiji. Fiji. Fiji has not given the value for the Indian origin people as compared to their Fijian. In terms of the right to vote. So we have understood the three exceptions of this feature of the democracy, that is one person, one vote, and one value. First example we have seen Saudi Arab. Their female had no any kind of the right to vote until the year of 2050. And second, the Estonia, in the country of Estonia, the minorities have no any kind of the right to vote, and minorities for who are the minorities for the Estonia, that are the Russians. And thirdly example, we have seen the Fiji. In the country of Fiji, the Fijian have much more value in the comparison with the Indian origin people in context of the right to vote. So let's talk about the statement of this feature of the democracy, that each adult citizen must have one vote, and each vote must have one value. So this is the statement of this feature of the democracy, that is one person, one vote, and one value. So we have understood the features of the democracy in the 3 points. Firstly, we have discussed about the major decision, that who will take the major decision. The major decision can be taken, major decision must be taken by the elected rulers. Secondly, we have discussed about the election. Election means the electoral competition. Why is it known as competition? As I have said, that it is known as competition because two or more electoral candidates are competing to each other for winning the election. That is why this is known as the electoral competition. Now, thirdly, we have discussed the one person. Thirdly, we have discussed the feature of the democracy, that one person, one vote, and one value. One person, one vote, one value means each adult citizen must have one vote, and each vote must have one value. Each vote must have one value. Each adult citizen must have one vote and each vote must have one value. So this is all about the democracy and the features of the democracy. And in the next class, we will discuss about this point, that is why democracy. In this section, we will understand that what are the demerits of the democracy, what are the merits of the democracy, and how is the condition of democracy in the context of India. Till then, take care and stay with the Jill Junction to study with the Jill. Jai Hind and thank you.